Hello, welcome back. We're going to continue working problems with more complex type of fractional problems here. And really the process once you see it is not that difficult, but you do need to see a lot of problems to understand which way to go. So these would be considered bonus problems, I would say, from by any stretch of the imagination. They're not really hard, they're just you have to think about them a little bit. So what if we had w over 6 minus 6 over w, so that's a term, two fractions subtracted, and we're going to divide by another ugly term, 6 over w minus 4 plus w over 2. So this one's interesting because we have a really ugly term divided by another really ugly term, but the ugly terms don't have common denominators, and this one doesn't even, it's just a whole number, and so we have to really think about what to do. So my advice is, what I've been telling you all along, is anytime you have fractions added or subtracted, you need to work on simplifying that before you do anything else. So it's just like order of operations. We want to work with what's inside of the parentheses first, right? So we want to simplify all this fractional work first. Once we get that as far as we can combined into a single fraction here divided by a single fraction there, then we can turn that into multiplication and finish solving the problem. So let's focus our attention first on this one. What do? We have a denominator of 6 and a denominator of w, so we have to figure out how to get a common denominator. We're going to multiply this fraction by w, and we'll multiply this fraction by 6, so we'll have 6w in both denominators. That will be our common denominator. So what we will have here is, let's go down below just to make sure we don't run out of room. It'll be w divided by 6 minus 6 divided by w, just giving me some room to work. So we're going to multiply this one by w over w, and we'll multiply this one by 6 over 6. So you see what we're doing? We're forcing the denominators to match. Okay? Now, we're not going to finish solving that yet because we have a whole other ugly term to deal with. Here we have a denominator of w. This denominator is just 1, and this denominator is 2. So what can we do easily to make them all match? Well, we'll try to make them all be 2w. In order to make them all 2w, we'll have to multiply this one by 2, 2 over 2. We'll multiply this one by 2w, and we'll multiply this one just by w. And then they'll all have 2w in the bottom. So what we will then do is it'll be 6 over w minus, I'll call it 4 over 1, plus w over 2. So what we're going to do is multiply the first one by 2, then we have to do the same thing to the top. Multiply this one by 2w, so this has to be multiplied by 2w, and this one has to be multiplied by just w. Remember, these are all little fractions. You can multiply top and bottom of these little fractions by anything you want, as long as you do it to top and bottom, and in doing so in this way, we're going to get 2w to be the bottom of our fraction. So let's go and work on the top, or the left guy right here. We have w squared over 6w. So it'll be w squared over 6w minus 6 times 6 is 36 over 6w. So now we have denominators that match. This will be divided by, and then we're working over here. 6 times 2 is 12 over 2w minus, now we're working over here. 4 times 2 is 8, so that's 8w over 2w. And then here, w times w is w squared over 2w. So now you see we have common denominators here as well. So now we can just move on down the line and simplify everything here. What we have here, common denominator 6w, we subtract the numerators. So what we have is w squared minus 36 over 6w. And then we have here, divided by, we have a denominator of